In the world of football, or as our American friends might say, soccer, sometimes David beats Goliath, and sometimes David gets a double whammy. Now picture this: the mighty Aston Villa, a team that has etched its name in the annals of football, up against Olymiacos. A match that was supposed to be a walk in the park turned into a trek up Mount Olympus. Olymiacos, the underdogs, had a different plan. They were ready to play the game of their lives, and boy did they deliver! It was the Europa Conference League semi-finals. The stakes were high, the anticipation even higher. The spotlight was on Ayoub El Kaabi, the man who would become the hero of the night. Not just once, but twice, he sent the ball sailing into the back of the net. A one-man wrecking crew, El Kaabi single-handedly secured a 6-2 aggregate victory. Picture the scene: the roar of the crowd, the stunned silence of the Villa fans, and the sheer disbelief on the faces of the Villa players. It was, in every sense, an unthinkable upset. Aston Villa's European dream crumbled like a castle of sand, swept away by the relentless waves of Olymiacos' attack. It was as if Villa had come to a gunfight armed with a rubber knife. The underdogs had not just triumphed, they had dominated. But let's not forget the lighter side of things. Picture the Villa manager, Unai Emery, on the sidelines, his face a mix of disbelief and disappointment. Perhaps he was thinking about how to explain this upset to the press, or maybe he was already planning the next season's revenge. Either way, he was a picture of a man who had just seen his carefully laid plans go up in smoke. And so, with a swift kick and a mighty goal, Villa's European dreams were dashed. Better luck next time, lads. Unai Emery, Aston Villa's manager, was seen sulking in the corner, nursing his wounded pride with a cup of English tea. The bitter taste of defeat, coupled with the aroma of Earl Grey, was a rather unfamiliar blend for Emery, a seasoned manager with a storied history. The Europa Conference League semi-finals had ended in a less than favourable note for his team, with Olymiacos claiming a decisive 2-0 victory. It's easy to imagine the disappointment that must have flooded Emery's thoughts. The taste of victory had been but a sip away, yet it was Olymiacos who ended up drinking from the cup of triumph. But Emery, ever the sportsman, didn't allow the bitter taste of defeat to linger. Instead, he chose to see the silver lining in this cloud of disappointment, highlighting the invaluable learning experience this defeat offered his team. The players, too, must have felt the sting of defeat. The journey had been long and arduous, and to fall at this stage must have felt like a punch to the gut. Yet, they knew that every fall is but a lesson in how to rise better, stronger. Interestingly, this defeat marked a first in recent football history. For the first time since the 2019-20 season, not a single English team featured in a European final. This little nugget of trivia may have added an extra pinch of salt to Emery's proverbial wounds. He wouldn't be blamed for feeling like the unwanted guest at a party, the one who arrived with high hopes but left with nothing but empty hands and a bruised ego. Yet Emery's spirit remains undeterred. He knows that defeat, while bitter, is also a great teacher. It's a call to action, a wake-up call to what needs to be improved, changed, or discarded. In this defeat, Emery sees not an end, but a beginning. So, as the sun sets on Villa's hopes, Emery is left to ponder what went wrong, and perhaps what tea goes best with humble pie. Meanwhile, over in the Olymiacos camp, it was all cheers and jubilation as they danced their way into their first ever European final. The Greek gods of football, as they are now fondly called, had just pulled off a feat many thought impossible, leaving the Villa standing in the dust. You could almost see the shock on Villa's faces, and in the silence of the stadium, you could almost hear a pin drop. But not in the Olymiacos corner. Oh no, their corner was a riot of noise, a cacophony of celebration. And why wouldn't they celebrate? They had just taken down a giant. They had just rewritten the script. The underdogs had triumphed, and they were not shy about letting the world know. The air was thick with the sweet smell of victory and the even sweeter sound of Ayoub El Kaabi's name, the man who had scored twice to seal their victory. Somewhere in the midst of the celebration, You could see the Olymiacos manager grinning from ear to ear. His eyes spoke volumes. They gleamed with pride. They sparkled with joy. He had guided his team to the final against all odds, against all expectations. And as the night wore on, the celebrations reached a fever pitch. The Olymiacos players, arm in arm, singing at the top of their lungs, dancing like there was no tomorrow. They were the heroes of the night, the champions of the underdogs, the toast of the town. But it wasn't just a victory for the Olymiacos. It was a victory for every underdog, for every team that had ever dared to dream, to go against the grain, to challenge the status quo. It was a reminder that football, at its core, is a game of unpredictability, of surprises, and of the sheer joy of the unexpected. And so, as the Olymiacos players danced the night away, somewhere in the distance, a lonely Villa fan could be heard crying into his pint. In other news, English football teams have taken a collective vacation from European finals this season. Indeed, it seems the English teams decided to swap the thrill of European competition for a bit of sun and sand. Perhaps they were inspired by the old saying, "Why play when you can relax?" Now, while the English were busy applying sunscreen, the likes of Real Madrid, Borussia Dortmund, Bayer Leverkusen and Atalanta were hard at work. They traded in their beach towels for football boots and made significant strides in the European finals. Real Madrid, as always, was a force to be reckoned with. Their performance was akin to a seasoned matador, masterfully controlling the game, leaving their opponents and spectators alike in awe. Borussia Dortmund, on the other hand, was like a well-oiled machine, each player contributing to a symphony of football excellence. Each pass, each goal, each save was a note in their grand performance. Bayer Leverkusen and Atalanta, both underdogs in their own right, proved that you don't need a star-studded lineup to make a mark. Their performance was a testament to the power of teamwork and determination. But let's not forget about Olymiacos. They were the ones who sent the English packing. They were the ones who stood tall amongst the giants. And they did it with style. It seems the English teams missed the memo that football isn't a spectator sport. You've got to be in it to win it. And while they were busy packing their beach shorts and flip-flops, the rest of Europe was busy playing some fantastic football. So, as the English teams pack their bags for an early summer holiday, we're left to wonder, who will be brave enough to tackle the mighty Olymiacos next season? Tune in next time for more football follies and fun.